Justice warriors. Ta kogi at a as andene bich behozingo idolil. To me, the translation for this is just very strong, because we're talking about God, even though his name isn't mentioned in there. Idolil, he's going to show us the way. He's going to show us the right way to go, because he knows what is right and wrong. In that way, he is the one that is going to show us which way to go. And it's not just for one group of people. Al-Adine means all the people of all races. Al-Adine. And he's going to make it known to us. He's going to make this the right way to go very well known to us, so we know which path to take. I really like the picture on here with the arrows. I think it really goes with Behozingo. He's going to show us the right path, and I think that's what justice warriors are supposed to do, is follow the correct way to live and to live for God.
Justice warriors, them sa aho awan haidosh na awa yushashikana yushakwe ade on. Them sa everyone, all the peoples, aho awan theirs haidosh na awa yushashikana. Social justice, yushakwe are literally the warriors that will continue to be the justice warriors even as of today.
Restablecedores de justicia. It's a lot to say, but restablecer is to reestablish. And in English, this is called a justice warrior. So the translation here doesn't fit in Spanish. Warrior has words similar to the English. Guerra is war, like guerrera. Guerrilla warfare is what we use in English. And it's too hostile in Spanish. Restablecedore de justicia talks about the trouble that has happened and the reestablishing of that justice.
At Rehoboth, we strive to be justice warriors. There's this story in Luke of Jesus coming into Jericho, and there's this man who's blind on the side of the road, and he's shouting out to Jesus, and Jesus' disciples are telling him, to be quiet. Hush, you're making too much of a racket. But the man, it says in Luke that he shouted all the more. And here at Rehoboth, I hope that we have a community where people who need help, who don't have a voice, who are struggling, is a place where we can hear those shouts, no matter how quiet or loud that they are, where we will advocate for those people who are in need, where we will advocate for those people to live, to fulfill that image of God in which they were created. We at Rehoboth value justice. We want to promote justice. We want to seek out justice in every single area as we teach and guide and walk alongside of the students here in the community that we're in the middle of.
In sixth grade, we had the opportunity to read a book called Hunger in America. And from that, sixth graders got really interested and curious about what that was like in our area. And so we did a little bit more research, and together as a group of sixth grade students, we found a lot of really fascinating information about our area and our community. So some of the information that sixth graders found out was that on the Navajo Nation, 1 in 4 families buy groceries just once a month. And that most families on the Navajo Nation have to drive more than an hour to get groceries. We found out that in New Mexico, we have the highest rate of food insecurity of the nation at 17.9%. We looked at our county in particular, McKinley County, and realized that 33.5% of the households in McKinley County are food insecure. And as we looked at this in 6th grade, we realized that there was a big problem in our area, and that we wanted to do something about that. And we were able to brainstorm and make plans and preparations to be justice warriors in our community. And the beautiful part was that the 6th graders themselves found the problems, they named the problems, they did the research to be able to even back up what they were noticing and seeing, to have the facts about why this was a problem. And then they were working to figure out how we could become justice warriors, how we could make change in our community, and how we could deal with this problem of food insecurity and poverty in this area. And it was an amazing, a wonderful time. So for me, one of the through lines that I've most enjoyed working with my students, because they were empowered to become justice warriors in our community. They were empowered to become community builders as well, to see needs and to see people, and to recognize that we are all created by one creator God who cares for us deeply, and desiring to make sure that all people in our area are shown that they are loved and that they are respected, and that we can honor them as the creations that God has made them to be. So that's the one through line that I've most enjoyed working with.
And one of the through lines I used in my flex lesson last year, and I hope to do again this year, and means a lot to me, is justice warrior. The lesson we did had to do with the homelessness in Gallup, and that was something that my 8th graders could resonate with, because they see the homeless people and they have questions about it and wonder about it. And that's my storyline, is to wonder about things and notice things, patterns or situations, and then to go ahead and struggle with it, and then have some sort of moment of awareness, whether it's actually finding a solution or just being more aware of a situation. And so we studied the increase in homelessness, the slopes of those lines, and the disproportionate increase in pay, minimum wage, so that people just can't really afford a place to live. Even if they have a job and are working at minimum wage. We actually went to the Hojo Center, and the students interviewed people that were coming in there, and they also had speakers come in and talk about the homeless situation from the government and from the Care 66. And so they sort of had a good, well-rounded picture of the situation here. And the students were so touched by these people's lives. And what we see then is the injustice that surrounds us. And now in America, even more than ever, it's being brought to the forefront. And so it was really poignant and good timing for them to be sort of delving into this and seeing what can they do, and the ideas and the conversations that came out of it, and how they were touched by these people's lives, and then wanting to somehow help was truly amazing to see God working through them and helping them reach out to these people. And then how they were blessed by people who have had injustice in their life, but then they in turn are giving them advice on staying in school and what to do, and just how the whole thing about justice, I feel, is this: there's no one better than, no one's above the other. And so we need to be on this even playing field. And for so long, our country has had white people who have made the decisions and are in power. And it's our turn now to, I think, step back and be in a position as justice warriors to be fighters for it, but to be fighting in the sense that we're listening, we're advocating, and we're validating. We're validating injustices that happened, and as a white person who married a Native American, when these things started to come up, there's this process I think we go through. And there was a time where I was sort of defensive and like, no, I wasn't the one who did that. And I wasn't there. And why is it on me now? And I think that's normal. And I think we sometimes have to go through that to just start to become aware. That's part of that middle part of my lesson planning where we're struggling with an issue. And then we become aware of the point that that's not the point. The point is we need to validate. We need to understand truths from the past that are true, and they may be sad and awful, but they are at the base of what is unjust. And so we need to become aware of it so that we can put an end to the injustice and start working towards a world and a community, a town, a school where justice is a main cornerstone, a foundation to our beliefs and how we move forward in our life. And Jesus was all about justice. He was all about not seeing the differences that we see. Our Preparing the Table theme this year talks about when Paul says, now everyone, guess what? We need to go out and preach to the Gentiles, those that were lesser than. And Jesus is saying, no one is lesser than. We are all welcome to the table. And so we need to put an end to injustice in our community, whether it's homelessness or prejudice, and also in the nation when it comes to all the things that are at the forefront with the terrible rate of incarceration of people of color. All of this needs to be brought up. The truth needs to be heard so that we can bring an end to injustice and be warriors for justice. So that's what I try to show to my students, and I hope we see a little piece of it and they see that it's worthwhile, and it's what ultimately God wants us to be people of justice and to help bring that about in his world today.
This painting is Justice Warriors, and I kind of woke up inspired for this one. We had come together as a staff and talked about the meaning, and we decided we didn't like the image that we had initially. And so we were kind of mulling over what could it look like? What would we do differently? And I woke up at like 5 a.m. and I said, I know what this is supposed to look like. It's got to be these two hands and there's these arrows behind it. And I have 12 arrows, 12 tribes of Israel, just the people of God would be the way that you would kind of look at that. And most of the arrows are going one direction, but the arrows in the white, kind of like the pure way, the white arrows are going the other direction, the opposite direction, like going against the flow in the pure way, the white way. The two hands in the middle are, real obvious, I guess you can see. One hand is reaching down to help up the other. And that's what the idea of the Justice Warriors is, that as the people of God, we are looking to be advocates for people who are down and out or need our help, but also that we would work together. I was thinking about, as I painted this, I was thinking about how one person could put their hand down there and say, let me help you. But it's not until that other person puts their hand up that says, I need that help, I want that help, that you can actually work together. And I think that we get stuck a lot of times in that, we say, oh, I've got the right answer for you, when really this person who we think is down and out is not needing our help. So Justice Warriors works in that way, that both people say, I have the ability to help you, and I have the desire to be helped by you. So that's what I kind of was going for in that part of the picture. But also, there's a blanket behind it, and blankets were often given in times of peace to kind of to share between chiefs or between groups of people to show, that we're at peace now, and so that we would exchange blankets, or we would exchange robes, or even sometimes the leaders might exchange their jackets in a sense, or because they're now at peace. And so the blanket behind there is the sign of peace, and the Justice Warriors working together, and the people of God are doing the thing that not everyone else is doing.